Hello everybody! My name's Kikrlin, but you may also know me as Dino from PC2, and welcome to Ero, where today we're tackling the world's fastest street circuit. I'm of course talking about the Jeddah Corniche circuit in Saudi Arabia. This track is 6.1 kilometers or 3.8 miles long, and it is made out of 27 corners, 3 slow speed, 7 medium speed, and 17 fast speed corners. Debuted in 2021, it's already made its fair share of controversies and brilliant races. 2021, the famous Verstappen and Hamilton battle ending in a big collision, and 2022's dangerous DRS strategies, which will definitely be present today. Speaking of DRS, we have 3 massive DRS zones, one on the start-finish straight, one right after the end of Sector 1 and beginning of Sector 2, which is actually not there in real life, it's actually at the end of Sector 2 and the beginning of Sector 3, and probably the longest DRS for the whole Sector 3, where, like we said, drivers will try and let their rivals and opponents through to get the advantage into the start-finish straight. With it being the fastest street circuit ever, it still has a pretty decent amount of difficult corners where high downforce is mandatory to not lose time, so it is going to bring a dilemma to our drivers to see if they opt to use a high downforce setup or low downforce setup in the quali and the race. Like always, we have a short qualifying session for today, which is going to set the grid for the race, which is 50% of the real race. So we have 25 laps to decide the winner of the first ever Saudi Arabian Grand Prix in Ero Pc F1. Today commentating alongside me is of course Adam Lepage. You already know what I'm about to ask you because I ask you this every single time. What strategies should we expect in today's race, and might we see some rain coming even though we are in a desert?
Unlikely. So, strategy is an easy one star. You can get the mediums something ridiculous, like 29 laps in a 25 lap race. They will just keep going. And the softs, I think I've done 15 laps on the softs, on Quali 1 softs as well, where I was just testing out how far I could push the tyres, without losing more than probably a second and a half a lap. It is a street track, it is essentially Monza with walls, it's incredibly fast. This should be our second shortest race of the season behind Monza, due to the massive average speed you manage to carry around this track. I believe our race yesterday, including qualifying, was barely over an hour, and we did have a safety car period. However, as it is a street track, safety cars are likely to occur. We only got one yesterday, which is very surprising. And I believe F5 and F4 on the PlayStation on Friday, between them, had a single safety car and a single VSC. So I would definitely expect safety cars here, but they are not guaranteed, depending on how smart our drivers choose to be. However, without safety cars, it is an easy soft medium or medium soft one stop. So I don't expect we're going to see too many pit stops outside of a safety car period.
And I think we both know that PC1 is probably the most dangerous PC league, and we're probably gonna have a full section of safety cars and VSCs. That's probably gonna happen. But yeah, we have 18 drivers in the lobby, and some people are already reading up. I don't know who left. Who left?
Luke left, apparently the game booted him out.
Oh. That's not good. That's very not good. Ah.
I've told him just join back the AI won't him out.
He joined immediately. Okay, so yeah, we are heading into the lobby, like we've said before. 18-minute qualifying session to set the grid for the race. Everyone will have to be careful which tire they want to choose, because the drivers in the top 10 will have to start on the fastest, on the tire that they set the fast lap on. So that is going to bring a more of a strategy element in the race. Of course, in the next game that's gonna be removed, as per the real life that is removed. So it is still here in 2021, so that is going to bring some very interesting races. So we are gonna see some drivers probably starting on mediums behind the top 10 and trying to extend them to the soft period, like you said, one stop in the race. So yeah, we just have to wait and see what they decide.
It won't be difficult to extend them to the soft period. It's only 25 laps down here. The track's over 6 kilometers long, second in length only to Spa-Francorchamps, but it is a mega fast lap.
Yes.
You're talking pole's going to be probably somewhere in the 1 minute 26s, where if you consider, and it is a 100%, obviously we race at 50, but at 100% it is a 50 lap race, like in real Formula 1. Whereas if you think about, for example, Singapore that we're racing at next week, pole is likely to be somewhere in around the 134-35 region, depending on weather and things, of course. However, that is a 63 lap race in real Formula 1, so you've got an extra 13 laps as Mateusz Jelenek put the intermediates on in the pits. Maybe he's expecting rain in a desert, but a lot of our drivers are diving out onto the track to get their laps in. I believe the guy at the front is going to be Kenny in the Alfa Romeo. As yeah, basically everyone's piling out onto track here. We did actually get traffic in PC2 yesterday, going into the last corner. A bit like real F1 there, but hopefully no one's going to get Guan Yu Zhou at Miami and get held up on that last corner by about 4 or 5 cars. They'll all manage to clear out of the way before anybody gets around finishing their flying lap.
Of course.
Yeah, the Mercedes just leaving the grid now as Kenny is just coming through the middle of Sector 2 down this back, not really a straight, kind of a straight. It's entirely flat anyway. So they're going to be way ahead of possibly holding him up on his lap. So that should be all good.
Of course. And our current championship leader in PC1 is of course going to be Tuka Rakola, with Drake retiring pretty early in the league. And right behind him is going to be Bill Bass. But enough about that, I'm gonna let Adam give you a little bit of a track guide of the Jeddah Corniche circuit.
So, down the pit straight, obviously this is one of the 3 DRS zones here around this track. If you want to spot your braking zone just around the start of this curve here, you can cut a lot of this inside curve, 2nd gear, 3rd gear, somewhere like that for this first corner. Short shift on exit, keep close to the wall around turn 3, which isn't really a turn because you are flat all the way. Down a couple of gears for turn 4, that inside red and white curb on the inside of 4 is entirely within track limits, so you can get as close to the wall as you can physically manage. As we flick it through Sector 1, multiple left and rights, and Kenny's unfortunately invalidated there at the end of Sector 1 and had to bail the lap. But Wadshu's right behind him, so let's jump on board with him, as Johnny is actually DNF in the AlphaTauri. As Wadshu comes to this hairpin here at the far end of the circuit, there is some banking on that, so you can carry more speed and brake lighter than you think you can. As he keeps to this inside wall, and now he's just going to flick it around the first of these quick chicanes here in Sector 2. Keep it away from that outside wall and cut back in to minimise the distance you travel down this straight. All these curbs are completely flat around Jeddah, so there's no reason to not just run on top of them, minimise your distance. Down a couple of gears for this very fast chicane under the bridge. I'm not even sure what kind of building that is, whether it's a hotel. No idea. And then around the curve of 25 and 26, entirely flat. This is the another one of the DRS. So hard on the brakes for this final turn. Don't put it in the wall like Max did in 2021. And hard on the power, and you should keep it quite a tight line. You can cut along a lot of that white line. And a 27.8 for Wadshi to start. Johnny right behind him DNF, so he's not got a time in, and Tuka on the mediums with a 28.2. They're just 4/10 off. The delta between the tyres is about 1.1 seconds. That's a very good lap for Tuka. He's going to be pushing to get into those 26s. As Freddie's fastest now with a 27.5 in the Red Bull. He is on those soft tyres, so he's choosing not to do a medium run. Yeah, I think it's going to be a bit similar to Bahrain here, where the delta between the tyres is so big, all of the soft runners are going to jump ahead of all of the medium runners, more or less. Well, unless somebody on the softs has made a major mistake on their lap. But you don't get away with many major mistakes around Jeddah. You either make a small mistake and lose a fair amount of time, or you dismantle the car ready for the next race.
Of course, and like we said before, a lot of people are on mediums, with Tukan and Liam Sigagola, Bill Bass, Patrick O'Dougall, Tony Rich, Jonathan Foss unfortunately retiring, and Pavlakovic all on medium tires. So let's see what times they are going to set. I don't think if you've mentioned this before, but the delta between the softs and mediums is around a second. So you do lose quite a bit of time during your qualifying lap.
It's not really a track you can realistically get in that top 10 on the mediums. I think everybody kind of wants to, but you can't. Really, the difference is just too large. You can't really find a second around here. There's not enough sort of heavy braking points and things. It's just the amount of understeer that you essentially get through Sector 1 and through those two quick chicanes in Sector 2. The mediums just don't carry enough speed without washing you out of the corner. So the softs are just significantly better. And they actually last a decent length of time as well, so you don't have to take it too easily on your in-laps and your out-laps, just to keep the tyres alive. They do have a decent amount of life. You can do more than half the race on the set softs without losing all that much.
Of course. So currently the fastest guy in the beginning of the qualifying session is Fazbe, and a 127.5. That is a pretty good lap time. Right behind him is Luke Mills in the Alpine, very much improving than how his pace was in the beginning of the season. And he is challenging for those top 5 positions every single race almost. So that is very nice to see. And the current championship leader is
his
in
quali
P6.
pace is definitely improving.
Yes.
He's getting up around there. He lost a kind of big chunks of time in the race last week at Bahrain. So I think it might just be a case of he just needs to maybe just take 1 or 2% off what he's trying to do in terms of lap time with how he's pushing. Take a couple of tenths off, just keep it safe, keep it steady. And then not lose, and maybe lose, bits and pieces of time here and there. But somewhere like Jeddah, the DRS is incredibly powerful in the race. You can sit in someone's DRS, they can't get away without a significant pace advantage. Normally, they would need a tyre advantage in order to pull a gap out of your DRS. So we might see a bit of a train around here. But if Luke can sit in the DRS of someone like Freddie, anybody else who manages to jump him, I think we'll be expecting people like Tony, who's done a 27.9 on the mediums. So he's going to be looking at a time in the 26s in quali when he finally puts on some soft tyres. And the likes of probably Tuka, who's just coming out on softs now, who's done a 28.2. So you might be looking towards the 26s as well. If Luke can stick with people like that at the start of the race, they will happily drag him along. And if he can keep out of trouble, people do like to go for slightly silly moves early on around here. As Matej Jelinek in the Mercedes actually jumps to P3 with a 27.6. It's a good lap from the Mercedes driver.
In PC2, I think the fastest lap time was a 127.1, if I remember correctly. So
yeah, I believe Hajrusi did I think it was a 27.199 or something for Paul. I think he was just in the 27.1s. It was a pretty monster lap. So I mean, we're seeing these guys within sort of 3 or 4 tenths of that already, with still 10 minutes of rubbering in to do. As Paolo Bellini goes fastest with 27.3.
Very impressive from the Williams driver.
Thank God he's not still in PC3.
We can also see the other Mercedes driver of Znamirovsky just running out to turn 27, the final corner of the circuit, just opening his DRS.
Casual through that last corner. May have been a little bit protective of the tyres possibly, and it's a 27.5 as well. Somehow slots in that little gap between Freddie and Luke. So that's going to put him up to P3 and P5 for Mercedes right now. So they're better in game than real life.
The Mercedes duo doing a pretty good job. So looks like they have the pace out of everyone else. And we can already see a pretty big gap between the top 13 drivers. There is a second and a half of a difference between Bellini and the final soft runner of Niemczyk in the Red Bull. So
the track does rubber in massively, especially at the start of qualifying though. We are in a desert. The game doesn't really simulate sand, but it does do a pretty good job of sort of a dusty, dirty track. As Tuka's 4 tenths up in the first sector on these softs, he would probably have been wanting a bit more, considering his first lap was mediums.
Oh!
As he's found a Red Bull sideways coming the banked hairpin at the far end of the track. Manages to avoid it and still keep his racing line pretty well. But he's going to come across Matthias Gola now in the McLaren down the back straight. Gola's not on a flying lap, I don't think. Although I don't see his light flashing, so maybe he is. But Tuka's gaining quite a lot. Gola's got his light flashing now, so hopefully he gets out of Tuka's way and doesn't slow our championship leader up too much. I think he just saw him at the last moment, managed to get out of the off the racing line through turn 24. Iron there, Tuka's championship rival, just about to start a lap, so he's going to be possibly going to try and get on the back of Tuka and get some slipstream down this pit straight. Tuka's almost in the wall, almost as a Verstappen. Against the DRS Open, and down to the line for a 27.4 for P2.
Not even pole position.
No, but it's a good improvement. He's within a 10th. And if he doesn't get traffic on his final lap, he could have got not so much held up, but he may have got distracted by someone a little bit. Especially with kind of how close he got to Matthias Gola. But we have got Freddie in the Red Bull just coming to finish his lap now. And at the Sector 2 split, he was 6/10 up. So if he's managed to keep that gap going through the final couple of corners, he's in the 26ers, just misses out with a 27.002.
Also,
none of the 26ers yet, Dino, but we're getting there.
also, if you don't know, if you qualify in the odd numbers, you will have the outside line in the beginning of the race, as per the track starts to the left side. And maybe that is going to prove very beneficial for some of our drivers, because it is going to be easier to avoid having collisions with
I mean, it is
some
possibly going to be better for turn 1. Obviously, it tightens up for turn 2 and then gives you the inside line back. But you are a little vulnerable to a Red Bull on the inside forgetting how to brake. So, as Lewis Hamilton will attest to from last season. So you still kind of need everyone to pay attention at the start and not murder each other.
Maybe. As Tony Rich is also on a flying lap, as he actually runs wide in the other fast little chicane, unfortunately. So he will lose time a little bit of that.
He's kept the lap though, he's 3/10 up. He's kept the lap.
I don't know if he's going to improve.
One of our wheel players, so you should have a bit of an advantage around this track. Sector 1's very wheel
Oh.
OP, but he has done a Verstappen. He's hit the wall at turn 27 and lost his front wing, so he'll be bailing that lap. So still 3 drivers without times, which is Johnny, who killed himself, Nathan, who's just coming through Sector 2, just into this first quick chicane here, and Kenny, who's just rounding the final corner. So Kenny did a 59.002 at the Sector 2 split. So his first flyer is going to be a 28.8, which jumps him ahead of Matthias Gola, and puts him right on the back of Lucas Turkson in the Haas, actually. So not a bad lap. Nathan with a 58.2, but invalidates at the second quick chicane. So he's going to bail out of this. He'll probably put a new set of boots on, but it will mean he only gets one chance to set a good qualifying lap, and hopefully get up there along with Luke, who's in P3, who has done another flying lap, and that's a 27.3, which jumps him ahead of Tuka, just 6 thousandths away from Paolo Bellini in the Williams, who is out on track on a outlap, I believe. So he'll be looking to go even faster, find that 3.5 tenths he needs to hopefully jump Freddie, get into those 1 minute 26s, and really show a bit of something. He's been having some good qualifiers recently, Paolo, but it all seems to unstick itself in the race. So he'll be hoping it finally settles down for him and he can have a good solid race and pick up some good solid points.
Jelinek is finishing his lap and sets a lap time for P4, 127.3, 20 thousandths of a second behind Luke Mills. A pretty good lap time. Still, there is still enough time to set a lap time for some of our drivers. We have 4 minutes remaining in the session, and that is just going to bring around 1 lap, maybe 2 laps if someone wants to do that. The track evolution is very high in this game, so now is, I think, the perfect time to just push and
Absolutely. I mean, everyone's gonna have time to get out, get another lap in, get some boots on. There's a few guys out on track at the moment. I'm not sure any of them are actually on flying laps. Kenny's on an in lap. I think Matthias Gola might be as well. Yeah, he's lifting off through 25 and 26, so it's possible he's going to be doing a second push lap. He may have made a mistake earlier in this one and wanting to go again, or he could be coming in, putting some new boots on. The McLaren driver. Yeah, he's staying out, so he's going to go for a flyer here, which is going to be his final real chance. He's not going to have time to come put new boots on. I doubt he'll have enough fuel to do another flying lap. As he gets it into turn 1 and 2, just about, manages to not invalidate on turn 2. Came very close to the limits there. Round turn 4, down to 3rd gear. I think I was taking that in 5th in qualifying. But he keeps it in track limits, so better to be safe than sorry. I'm not sure how he didn't invalidate there through the fast double right-hander. But through the end of Sector 1, it's a 30.7. So he's almost a second up already on his time. But his current time is a 30.2 as Lucas Dirksen's binned it. Coming out of the last corner, so he has done a Verstappen. And we'll hope he doesn't hold anybody else up. Oh, he's on the inside, so at least he's not on the racing line, as George's teammate just comes through there.
Niemczyk retires on a yacht lap.
Hopefully nobody's gonna... Yeah, so that's not ideal. At the first fast chicane, it's an easy place to get it wrong. I think I had about 7 snaps of oversteer there yesterday, and somehow managed to keep it out of the wall for each of them. As Matthias, just coming through 25 and 26, takes a very strange line through there. Most people keep it as tight as possible to minimise the distance, and Matthias runs it all the way to the outside wall. Hard on the brakes, has to go down to a second to get the nose in at 27. There's a bit of a kick of oversteer on the exit, and he's going to run it up to the line. Doesn't take quite the shortest route, and it's a 28.3, so it's only good enough for P14 as of now.
The season 6
that's better somewhere. Tuka's next on track, just starting a lap, as is Matthias' teammate Patrick. Who's next on a flyer?
Tony Rich
is... so he's not on a flyer.
But he does have enough time, so that is very good.
Iron's just starting a lap.
Gola crashed.
Wadshi Crocs is on a lap behind Iron though, and Iron's done well not to hold him up at the last corner. So this is going to be Wadshi's final attempt, and it's a 27.6, so improves by a 10th, jumps to P9. It's ahead of Casper, who's not going to be able to improve his time. Marek was next on track, going into the pits. Then we have the remaining Red Bull of Freddy starting a lap, followed by one of the Ferraris, which is Martin, who was actually runner-up in Season 5, so he's on a bit of a comeback trail here with Ero. He's not left much of a gap to Freddy. He's going to be hoping Freddy's going to be mega in Sector 1, so he doesn't catch him and get too much in the way of dirty air. And Martin's teammate, Matteo, our only French driver, is starting his lap as well. So I think this is going to be everybody just starting their flyers now.
Luke Mills goes to pole position.
Goes fastest. First man in the 26s.
Yes, he is, but maybe Freddy is going to beat that very soon. But that is a very impressive lap time from the Alpine driver. And
Carlo's managed to get over the line to start a lap, so he's going to have a shot at the start at the top step of the grid as well. Freddy's actually 0.004 of a second down in Sector 1, so he's not improving right now. Mateusz Jelinek is just going to make it to the line, I think. Yes, with 1 second to spare.
And
Tuka puts in a 27.1, so that's Tuka's quali over. And Padraig doesn't improve. Oh, he does, but only 2.14, manages to jump his teammate. And Tony with a 26.8 now goes fastest.
Some people behind. I think Crocs has also finished this lap, but he has not improved.
She stays P10 with a 27.6. Freddy's now 36 thousandths up, so he's improving. Might be enough to get Luke, but it's not going to be enough to grab Tony right now. As he goes a little deep into 27, just about manages to get the nose in. But it's compromised his exit slightly as he runs tight to the pit entry line at 26.7. He's found more time in that final sector and does go faster.
As Drax in the Ferrari has also gotten himself into P5.
Matteo Michelon with a 27.1 goes just behind Tuka. Let's see, Luke's bailed this lap. He's 20 seconds down on his split, so Luke is not going to be improving. Who's next across the line will be Quill Pavlakovic in the Williams, but he's invalidated that unfortunately.
The only guy
so our next driver actually on a lap is Mateusz Jelinek.
So let's see what he is about to do. He is on the longest straight, right at the beginning of sector, at the end of sector 3, coming out to turn 27, taking a very bad line.
He's bailed this. He braked so early for that final corner.
Yeah, he will not improve.
Absolutely bailed that. Tuka's not on a lap anymore, Oh, Padraig's not. Padraig's already taken the checkered flag. So it's just... I think that's everyone, actually.
Yep, that is everyone,
Yeah.
and that is going to be qualifying over. So Freddy Fazbe is our pole sitter for today's race, a 1:26.7, a very impressive lap time from the Red Bull driver. Right behind him in P2 is going to be Tony Rich, and they round out the first row of the grid. Next we have the impressive Alpine driver of Luke Mills doing a very good job to put himself into P3, and the current championship leader Tu Caracola is going to follow him right behind. Then next we have, I think, the reserve for Ferrari, Drax SPL, currently in P5.
Matteo Michelon, our only French driver.
Michelon, and Berlini follows him right behind, 2/10 slower than the French driver. They round off the third row of the grid. Next we have Mateusz Jelonek and Pawlakovic, currently in P7 and P8, not too bad. And Namirovsky Bilbas in the final top 10 positions.
Oh, Williams, Mercedes at the bottom of the top 10. Toto must be furious.
And then below the top 10 we have Crocs, Niemczyk, Martin Sanchez, George Parr, Patrick O'Dougall, Nathan Powers, Mateus Gola, Sikerbike, Dirksen, and Jonathan Foss, unfortunately, who has not set a lap time because he crashed in the beginning. All of these drivers will have the free choice of tire in the race. I'm sorry for interrupting.
I don't think it's fine. I don't think it's that unusual for us to see an Alpine in 3rd and another in 16th. I think it's not the order people would have expected, with all respect to Luke.
I think in the beginning of the season, it would probably be the other way around. Luke 16th and then Nathan 3rd, but Luke has picked up the pace so much in this entire season.
Huh. Apparently, okay, I'm just reading chat here. Apparently, Tuka lost 2/10 on his lap because he got scared in Sector 1. Because he came across a car upside down. we totally missed, and I wish we hadn't. I'm gonna be asking for a POV for that one. That's going in a video somewhere.
Manu, the sound of the game is a bit weird because we cannot run it. Adam Lepic cannot stream, so I need to stream, and I don't know how, but I have a problem where if I have the game audio on, or the desktop audio on, and the microphone, and I'm talking to, let's say for example, Adam Lepic, you will hear him twice. I'm sure you probably wouldn't mind that, but I mind that. But I mind that, so yeah, that's why we either have to sacrifice myself or the game audio, and the game audio is I think better to sacrifice than my annoying voice. But
your Croatian crofty tones.
Some people are actually. Almost everyone below the top 10 have set medium tires for their start of the race. The only guy that hasn't done that is Martin Sanchez in the Ferrari. So that is gonna be very interesting to see.
Yeah, I think Martin is banking on early safety cars, which are not unlikely. And if he can jump, Wodshi, Casper, maybe there's some problems in front of him, get up into sort of 7th, 8th place. He's going to be diving in, putting on those medium or hard tyres. There's not too much in the difference in terms of delta between what you would probably consider the racing compounds, the mediums and the hards. It's only around half a second, and you get way more than that for being in someone's DRS. So you can live with somebody on the hards if they're on the mediums quite easily. You'll be a little faster come the end of the race, especially if you're asking mediums to do sort of 20 or so laps around here.
Yeah.
They do sort of drop off quite substantially, I would say, after around about lap 18. But I mean, they'll do the race. They're just not probably the quickest way to do it, being on them the entire time. So I think Martin's going to be looking to make some places up off the start. Might be interesting to see if we can possibly get onto the back of his teammate. That would be very good for him if he can manage that.
Of course. And
I had a race here on Tuesday. I managed to go 9th to 6th in 2 corners at the start. So it's definitely possible. Something he can definitely pull off, and he's going to get a better start with those soft tyres if he can find space through the first 2 corners, where the grid does bunch up, and it is a little bit of a clusterfuck trying to get through those first couple of corners with everybody intact and in one piece. As Freddie and Tony have already filled into their grid spots. Jonathan at the back just coming around 27th, so he's going to be hoping to stay out of trouble as much as anything else. And not get collected in somebody else's disaster, which is my favourite trick at the least.
And yes, we are seeing Jonathan Foss, the final guy to get himself onto the grid, and once he does that, we are going to start the first ever Saudi Arabian Grand Prix in PC1. So
and the AI taking control out of turn 27 to put you to the grid. That's only going to happen 3 more times in Ero before we go to immersive starts.
We have 5 red lights, it's a long hold up as always, but we are underway for the first ever Saudi Arabian Grand Prix in Ero, and looks like Freddy Fazbear has actually got a pretty decent start as he closes the door to Tony Rich. He remains in P1 as everyone practically stays in the same position, but Tukarakola and Luke Mills are going side by side into turn 3, but Luke Mills has backed out of that position. Tukarakola puts himself into P3 on the podium places, and Yellowneck has actually improved quite a few positions. He puts himself and his Mercedes into P5. That's a pretty good position for him, as he was not running in that place in quite a few races but as of yet, but he is in the pressure of Drax, who now has the inside line into the hairpin, as I think he will make the move stick. He pushes him a little bit into the wall, but that was a pretty clean move indeed from the Ferrari driver. He puts himself into P5, very impressive from the reserve for today.
Everyone makes it through Sector 1 in one piece. We had Nathan and Casper a bit further back in the second Alpine and second Red Bull, going side by side through that entire sector, but managed to keep it clean and keep out of the walls. And everyone's still going, although Matthias Kohler possibly has damage. He's been dropped a little at the back of the field. Or he could have just made an error and had to let people go. Oh, he's definitely got damage. He's run very deep into the second chicane, so I think that's probably front wing damage on the McLaren. And he has underfueled, so he's going to be looking for a safety car, as have a couple of our other drivers. Quill and Matthias side by side through turn 27. There's a bit of contact on exit. These guys are both underfueled, and we'll be looking for a safety car later on in this race. In order to help them get to the end. Although when you're in traffic like this, you can save quite a lot of fuel, as we're going almost 4 cars going into turn 1 together.
And there was contact between teammates.
Arjen Gobas and Matthias Jelinek. And Paolo's lost a lot of time there, and Marek Znamorowski in the second Mercedes has managed to jump him. So we've got some big fights going on further back in the field as people are just trying to set themselves, get into a rhythm, slot into the DRS for when it opens up next lap. But the front 5 start to pull away a little bit here.
They are, as we are having very, very interesting battles here, as we had Jelinek on the attack, or Pavlakovic on the attack of Jelinek, and there was a little bit of a contact into turn 1 between the Williams teammates, but thankfully no harm done, as Berlinin lost a couple of positions, but not too much, currently running behind the other Mercedes driver of Znamorowski, but now Pavlakovic is trying another move right before the second high-speed chicane, but he knows that that is probably not the best overtaking position or place to do it, and he backs out of it. But now he has a very decent run on Jelinek as he runs very deep into that chicane, but he's not using any of his DRS, so he's gonna try and stay behind. DRS is not
3 wide here into the final corner. It could be 5 wide into the final corner. Everyone's just looking for space. We've got 2 Williams going abreast, and Iron's trying to nip down the inside of all of them. But it's going to compromise his drive off of turn 27 as Tuka gets the fastest lap, and we've got a Mercedes in the pits. That's Marek Znamorowski, so he must have picked up front wing damage somewhere.
We have 3 wide!
And get off of those soft tyres. Mediums might go to the end from here, hards definitely will.
We have 3 wide, there's a bunch of contact.
Oh,
I'm sorry for interrupting you, but there's a lot of contact into turn 1, and we have 3 wide.
These guys fighting so much, Casper and Nathan at the back have managed to get onto the back of this train. Even though they went side by side on the last lap as well, Casper managing to overtake Nathan around the outside of the chicane.
There was contact between Paolo Borlini and Niemcy going side by side into Sector 1. That's not the place you want to go side by side, surely.
This top 5 just got a little spicier as Freddy has managed to pick up a 3-second time penalty at the front of it. So he's going to be hoping to build a bit of a gap on these guys, but they're all going to be happily sat within his DRS. 3 DRS zones around here, of course. 1 into the hairpin at the far end of the track. 1 into turn 27 and 1 over the pit straight as Lucas Sturkson has retired, and that's going to be a virtual safety car.
We might see some people into the pit lane now because of this virtual.
Very interesting place to have binned it. Marek has come out of the pits actually on a new set of soft tyres. So he's going to have to make another pit stop. Oh, that's a big crash from Lucas. There's car all over the track. I'm not entirely sure how they're clearing that without a full safety car. But these Saudi Arabian marshals, I'm sure they have a plan up their sleeve. They may have borrowed the invisible kaijus from Suzuka.
They probably have like ghosts for their workers as he's disappeared from the track. As we see Fazbe and Tony Rich going into the pit lane, switching to probably mediums, maybe even hards for the rest of the race. But Tukarakola
mediums on the Red Bull and a new front wing.
Oh,
And mediums onto the Alfa Romeo as well. So these guys taking advantage of the quicker pit stop. As we've also got a new front wing and medium tyres for Mateusz Jelinek. And it's going to be hard tyres and a new front wing for Pedro Dougal in the McLaren. And Martin Sanchez is also pitting the Ferrari. And he's got on, when it shows me, some medium tyres as well. So these guys will be looking to go to the end from here. The top 11 yet to stop. We'll probably be looking for a safety car to gain this time back that they've lost here. And Paolo Bellini's come in as well, and he's put medium tyres on. And he might just get out in front of Matteo Scola as the VSE has ended, and we are racing again.
Luke Mills and
Luca into the lead and brought this down to a front three. Luke coming under heavy pressure from Matteo Michelin in the Ferrari, almost pushing him through that fast chicane, and we might see a move here into the second fast chicane at the end of Sector 2, start of Sector 3. Matteo has a huge amount of battery to use, and he's going to be going side by side, but he thinks better of that. He's not going to be that brave on the brakes. Luke's just dropped out of Tuca's DRS range, so he's going to be a bit of a sitting duck here for Matteo. Matteo might be able to overtake it and then slingshot himself into Tuca's DRS and pick it up for the pit straight to defend from Luke. As he does go around, and we've got contact at the back, I think, between the two Mercedes. And Mateusz Jelinek's lost his front wing, so he's going to be having to come in and pit, and he's only just stopped, so that's going to kind of ruin his race, unfortunately. But Michelin did manage to get Tuca's DRS, so he's going to be able to defend from Luke into turn 1 and 2. These guys now with a 4-second lead over Ian Bilbas, who's managed to make it up into P4. So he's done very well fighting his way through the traffic in the first 4 laps of this race.
Speaking of traffic, we have a huge DRS train coming from P4 right down to the other AlphaTauri driver of Jonathan Foss, improving already 11 positions in 5 laps, starting from last going to 9th. So a very impressive race so far from the AlphaTauri driver, as he is battling with Aston Martin for the constructors championship, and that's going to be one of the battles that is going to be very interesting to see right now, as we have 3 races almost remaining for the end of the season, as we are going to go to Singapore, Imola, and then Italian Grand Prix for the last race of Season 7.
Yeah, Aston Martin currently earning an extra 15 points this race compared to AlphaTauri, so AlphaTauri will be looking to jump the Aston Martins who are in front of them. Johnny looking to get past Washi, but they are in this DRS train, so he's not going to have too much of an advantage and too much of a way he can do it. But Luke's managed to get back past Matteo, who's lost a ton of time, and he's in a wall.
Oh!
I'm not sure if that's some sort of disconnection with his wheel or something.
And that's going to bring out the safety car.
At turn 27, that is a safety car, and everyone's going to be in from. Tuca and Luke missed the pit lane. They were too far around. But Tuca's just going to clear the safety car, so they're going to be able to go around at Delta, and everyone else is going to be stuck on Delta as well, so they're not going to lose too much to this. They got a bit lucky there. However, Casper, Jonathan, Kenny, and George behind on those medium tyres have elected to not stop. They're going to be staying on these mediums and hoping for another safety car to put softs on later on.
Oh, safety car is in a really dangerous position. People need to be really careful to not hit it on the apex, but I think that the Red Bull driver...
It's on apex?
It's at the apex.
Oh, it's moving.
Yes,
Why is
it's moving. I don't know.
So these guys that have just got caught behind it, George and Tony, are just going to have lost a ton of time. Tony's jumped George. I think George had to go off track to avoid the safety car. I'm not
there
sure
we go.
We should give that back.
It's stopping. It's stopping.
The safety car's finally found a place to park. I always feel like it should park up between turns 3 and 4. There's plenty of space for it to just sit on the left-hand side and not be in anybody's way. I wonder if because of how close it was to Tuca, it got a little confused, which is entirely possible. But
maybe.
Tuca and Luke are flying around here to try and get in and out before some of these medium runners that haven't stopped. They want that bit of a buffer to Tony. The gap from Tuca back to Tony is 19.5 seconds. I'm not sure what the time loss under safety car is, but Tuca and Luke are going to be coming in here. Burn a lot of their ERS, but they'll get most of that back in the pits. as they're hoping to stay ahead of Tony, who is the first of the guys to not pit. He's just coming up to turn 27, so we'll have to see if the Alpine and Aston Martin boys manage to turn the cars around fast enough to get him out before Tony gets around. Tony's burning some battery here. He really wants to jump these guys, but I think they're going to have just enough to get out in front. But Jonathan is going to take the lead after starting last as he binned it in quali. So Jonathan's going to lead with Kenny right behind him, who might be looking to do a bit of a job for his teammate here and hold up Tuka and Luke and let Tony really have a go at them off this safety car restart. Tuka and Luke going to have to clear the guys on the worn tyres quickly and hope Tony gets kind of caught up behind them. Clear a bit of breathing room, hopefully, as all these three will be looking to go to the end if there aren't any more safety cars where it makes sense from a tactical standpoint to come in and put softs on.
We also see some guys on hards, as the other Aston Martin driver of Crocs has put hards on, and Patrick Adugal also on hards. So they can definitely go until the end, but they will struggle a lot. But we did see in PC2 yesterday, if you have watched that race, that hards are actually not that bad of a tire, as Faraday actually won on track, but I managed to stay in his penalty zone and I took the win. But hards are definitely not the worst tire, as the track is only straight, so to say, so you don't really lose too much time.
There's only about half a second between the medium and the hard tyres. They're not the worst tyre in the world, they're obviously not ideal. I understand Patrick doing it, as he did pick up front wing damage and started on the mediums, and there's no way he got softs to the end when he did have to pit a couple of laps ago. Watch is quite a strange one though. He started on the soft tyres, managed to just sneak into that top 10, I believe. So he could have put the mediums on to get to the end, unless he's just not confident in the amount of wear. This is a track that hasn't been raced all that much by most of these guys, maybe 1 or 2 races at most. So tyre wear is probably a little bit of sort of pissing in the wind, trying to figure out, can I actually get these tyres to the end from here? But the mediums, as we discovered yesterday, they really don't wear all that much, which is probably partly because they're not that quick.
Maybe. It is a second the difference between the softs and the mediums. So yeah, Bill Bass currently leading, I think, and he has not stopped yet. So I mean Jonathan Foss and Sigurd Bikia in P1 and P2. Like you said, we might see some team plays between the Aston Martin boys. But we of course have to wait and see how the safety car ending is going to play out, as the safety car might come in this lap if Burlini...
It probably will. Yeah, I mean I've pit from 3rd place before here around Jeddah, and managed to catch the safety car by the end of Sector 1. It's very slow around here compared to what a Formula 1 car can do. So it's quite easy to catch up to. You see Matej Jelinek's already on the back of the train, and Paolo's pretty much there as well, and the safety car still hasn't come around this banked hairpin at the other end of the track. But I think Kenny will be the first to admit that he doesn't really have the pace to live with these top guys at most places, so needs to sort of play the tactical card a little bit more. And I think right now the tactical card for him is hold up Tuka and Luke and let Tony have a go. And if they do manage to overtake you, just let Tony go, don't hold him up at all if you can help it. Play a bit of the team game, maximise the points haul for Alfa Romeo. I think Tony's going to have a better chance attacking Tuka and Luke, considering Kenny still has to pit as well. But he's going to put him sort of 25 seconds behind these guys when he has to do that anyway. So,
as I think,
gain for Kenny fighting, but possibly quite a lot to lose if he picks up damage or something.
Yep, and we might see the indication that safety car is coming in right about now, I think. There we go, right about now, and there we go. The drivers are gonna be hoping that they have heated up their tires as much as they could. The mediums and hards are very difficult to heat up during a safety car because it is pretty slow in every single place, so you really need to weave all around the track to get that temperature in them, and the track temperature is of course a big factor as well, as we see Powers actually getting a 5-second penalty, with a collision from Pavlakovic.
Jonathan's maintaining a steady speed though. He's just doing around 60 miles an hour. As Freddie's dropped off a load of places, he's actually managed to spin it under safety car.
And Jonathan Voss
goes... drop him almost to the back.
Jonathan Foss goes very early as Tuka is already on the attack from Sikerbike, so he's already gonna be overtaking him, and that is going to be P2 for Tuka. Now he has Jonathan Foss right in front of him. Let's see, right behind we have a contact with the Haas driver of George Parr. He is in the middle of the track. Thankfully he has moved.
And I think Iron had to slam on for that, and he's dropped a load of places down to P10. So Nathan, Quill, Martin, they've all managed to jump him, and only out of these guys, only Martin will possibly need to stop. I don't think any of them are definitely going to stop. They might all be going to the end, as Luke's now getting onto the back of Kenny at the front as well. He needs to clear him as soon as possible. Otherwise, he's going to be coming under some heavy pressure from Tony right behind him. And he needs to get round Kenny so he can get on the back of Tuka again. As Tuka's going to be pressuring Jonathan Foss and hoping to take the lead of the race and pull away from these guys, especially if Kenny keeps defending from Luke. And helping out Alfa Romeo there, it's also helping out Aston Martin. So a little bit of a inter-team play between the A's.
Kenny is really dealing with the pressure very, very well, as he is now on the attack from Luke Mills, the Alpine driver. Let's see, he goes around the outside as Sikerbike defending the inside. And they are still going side by side right into the final corner, but Kenny knows that he cannot do anything about that, and he just breaks a little bit early to just secure that Luke Mills will take that position. Because of the safety car, DRS is not enabled just yet. We will have to wait 3 laps as Kenny also lets his teammate through.
He let Tony go, so some good team play there from the Alfa Romeo boys. Tony's right on the back of Luke, and these two now will be hoping that it takes Tuka a while to get past Jonathan. No DRS until next lap. It's disabled for 3 laps after a safety car. So that he's going to be trying to clear the AlphaTauri before that opens and hopefully build a big enough gap that Jonathan doesn't get the DRS just to come back at him and stick with him. Because if there is another safety car around about lap sort of 15 or 16, I think we'll see everybody in for softs. And these guys that haven't pit yet will be big gainers, especially Jonathan up from the back of the grid.
As Tuka is closing in to Jonathan Foss, they are at pretty equal pace, as Datia is pretty self-explanatory in Jeddah, and keeping behind of one car is very difficult, and trying to stay in his DRS zone. But Tuka, we can see that he is not using any of his DRS. He's just trying to spare a lot of it. Yeah, he is. He's waiting for that DRS zone to just open up, which will at the end of this lap, as Sikerbike is now
attack again, this time from Kasper Niemczyk in the Red Bull. They're going to go side by side through 27, and possibly a bit of contact there. I think Kasper turned in before Kenny was expecting it. Just about managed to keep it out of the wall though, and that's actually turned into a pretty good move as DRS is now enabled. And promotes the Red Bull driver up to 5th place. He is on those soft tyres, which will not go to the end. He is going to have to pit. He needs to make up places as he sets the fastest lap as well with a 30.6.
And we now see the other Aston Martin driver of Wojciech Kroks now going around the outside of the Ferrari driver of Martin Sanchez. He pushes him into the wall and he loses 2 positions to Kroks and Znamierovski, who literally just waited and took that position freely. So very good from Znamierovski. They're just being patient and
Freddie at the back, I think he got damaged when he spun under safety car and had to pit. So he's put mediums on, but he's 17 seconds off the back of the field, although he has just done a fastest lap. So he'll be hoping to get on the back of the field if he can, and we'll be looking to take advantage of everybody else's disasters. Hopefully they all pick up damage and he can make up some places that way.
Oh, Gola going side. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but Gola and Martin going side by side into the chicane. That was very stressful. I'm sorry for interrupting you again.
No, not at all. And Niemczyk managed to get past Tony through the first of the fast lane. So he's made it up into P4 and he's going to have DRS here, these two guys, on Luke up in P3, who hasn't managed to get onto the back of Tuka. But Tuka's going down the inside of Jonathan into the final corner. But this is going to give Jonathan DRS down the pit straight and he might be able to fight this back. But Tuka's got a full battery pack here to try and defend with. Jonathan's already down to about 40%, as Tony's managed to overtake Luke with the DRS as well. And he's going to be taking a run at Kasper as well. Kasper just goes a little bit defensive, manages to close the door off going into one. And Jonathan does manage to get Tuka back. So he's going to continue leading in the AlphaTauri and holding up Tuka. Which Iron would very much like him to do to limit the points differential between himself and Tuka this race. Maybe even if Johnny could accidentally on purpose give Tuka a little bit of damage and just slow him down a little bit like that. I don't think Ian would complain all that much, although Tuka might.
Maybe, as
The time penalty starting to rack up as Mutation. And Nathan's managed to overtake Kenny as well, so those one medium tyres not doing the best job. Nathan is on softs, and he's just 1.6 now behind Luke, his teammate, after their, let's say, polarising qualifying performances with 3rd and 16th. He's managed to close in a little bit, and these soft tyres are going to put him on the back of Luke relatively quickly, especially if Luke does unfortunately drop out of the DRS range of Casper and Tony in front of him. But still going pretty well for the Alpine. Still in P5 after starting P3, so he's not lost all that much, as Tony's going for a move round the curves of 25 and 26 on Casper. Casper's battery is in full harvest mode, where Tony is on 84% charge, as Tuka's overtaken Jonathan again, but Jonathan's going to have the DRS down this pit straight, and he's going to make the move into turn 1 and 2 again, fighting back well on these 12-lap-old medium tyres, and maintains the lead for another lap. I think Tuka needs to play a little bit of the tactical game, maybe get him in the next DRS zone as opposed to the one round 25 and 26. Play a little bit of DRS chicken. As we've got 3 wide through turn 1 with Gola, Bellini and Sanchez all right behind Jelinek. Jelenek's going to be looking to get away from all this chaos, and there's contact. I'm not sure if there's any damage on this.
I don't think he has damage, but I think he might have some invincible damage, as that was very big contact into the wall.
Understeered from Martin here. He picks up a warning and a 3-second time penalty, and he's having to brake and lift a lot through sector 1. So he's definitely, I think, got front wing damage. As Mateus Golo in the second McLaren manages to get past him as well. So that's going to be a trip to the pits for the Ferrari, unfortunately.
Oh, Mara
and he's actually retired from the race, but he has retired on track, which is going to be a penalty if anybody reports it.
Oh, there's probably gonna be a report. If you are going to retire from the race, you have to do it into the pit lane, so you don't
yellow flags and potential safety cars. But
yes,
that's going to give Freddie 1 place. So it said he needed to capitalise on everyone else's disasters. Well, that's one disaster he's managed to capitalise on. As Tuka's going for the lead again through this same DRS zone. But all this side by side that the front two are doing is just bringing Tony, Casper, and Luke onto the back of them. So now we're back to a front 5, and Nathan 2 seconds behind will be hoping to get onto the back as well on those soft tyres. But these guys with the softs, Casper and Nathan, they're not getting them to the end. They're going to have to pit again for another set of softs somewhere. As Kenny's fighting Quill now for P8, and they're side by side through turn 1 and 2. Quill's got that inside line for turn 2 and can just sort of squeeze Kenny up to the wall a little bit, possibly get a better drive into 4. But Kenny's not letting this one go without a fight.
Oh, there was contact!
And there's big contact, and Quill's round. Keeps it out of the wall, but Kenny could have some little bit of damage there, and that's going to put Quill a long way back.
That's probably a racing incident, because Quill didn't leave enough room as they went side by side into that corner. I think
a bit of a dangerous rejoin there from Quill, pulls into the path of George Parr. Fortunately, he was still ghosted, so no damage for the Haas driver, but he might need a change of race suit after that.
As we see a big 4-way battle as Niemsig actually touches the wall. I think he might have some damage because of that right at the end of the chicane. But I was saying that we have a 4-way battle between Jonathan Foss, Caracola, Tony Rich, coming out now to the second longest straight on the track.
Oh, definitely got damage almost hits the wall through the second fast chicane. And that's going to put Luke back up into P4. But out of the DRS range of this front 3. So he's potentially going to be a little exposed here. And Casper's going to lose 2 places to 2 Alpines in 2 corners, as Nathan makes his way through as well. And we've got 3 wide behind with Wodsheep, Marek and Ian. Ian has to take the back seat through there, but Marek runs wide through 27, and that puts Ian back up a place, back up into P8. And both these guys now are going to have DRS on Wodsheep, as Casper gets a 5-second penalty for speeding the pit lane and retires from the race just to make his day go from bad to worse. And Wadshi's lost 2 places down the pit straight there as Ian and Marek going side by side through turn 1, but he's going to come back. And we might have 3 wide on the run down to turn 4. You can't go 3 wide here. But they're going to try it. Marek's just in front, and Ian just manages to squeeze out Wadshi to keep the place. But Marek gets a 3-second time penalty in the process. That's, you can't go 3 wide through turn 4, guys. But, I mean, you can try it. But
Absolutely
I wouldn't do it myself.
And we also saw...
to get into the DRS range of the front three, so we might be bringing this back to a front four pretty quickly.
Yep, and we also saw that Tuka and Tony Rich have finally overtaken Jonathan Foss, as we actually have a spin of Berlini.
And that is a safety car, and that's Paolo sideways stationary on track. I think the car might still be alive. I don't know if there's any damage on that, but
he has major front wing damage.
There's carbon fiber all over the track, so eek.
I don't know how he's still alive because of that big contact, but he leaves the session. I don't know why. He probably should have retired in the pit lane if he wants to leave. But yeah, unfortunately that big contact has put the safety car out.
Okay, so Freddy overtook Paolo as he was a bit slow. I think the game told Freddy to give the place back. They both just stopped on track completely. As Matteo Scola has also been pinged for an overtake under yellow flag. But then I think because they both stopped on track, the game just went, yeah, whatever, get on with it.
Everyone
so
going
Freddy's
into the pit lane.
Place, but Paolo was going to have to pit anyway. Yeah, the top 6 all in. Top 8 all in, as I thought they would be. Yeah, Kenny's in to get off those mediums, so he's got a big advantage for not pitting before. So he's going to be up in P9, which is pretty good considering where he started.
And Jonathan Foss is also going to be improving with this.
Yeah, he's in the podium places now after starting last. Kind of bailed out a little bit by the safety car. Means he can put those soft tyres on, and we're going to have about a 7-lap sprint to the end, I think, with everyone on brand new soft tyres. This could be a little hectic.
It probably will be.
I would not count out another safety car. I absolutely would not count out another safety car. But Maylander needs to come in, put some more fuel in that Aston Martin and be ready to go again in a couple of laps, because that's very likely to be what's required. So I think the entire field now is going to be on brand new tyres. Paolo's obviously coming in because he needs a new front wing. So he's going to be putting on some brand new softs as well. Possibly Quali 1, I'm not sure who only did 2 runs and who did 3 on the soft tyres. But this is exactly why you want to do a run on mediums. You get 3 runs in around Jeddah quite comfortably. 4's a little bit of a stretch, you could maybe just about manage it. But you want to save a set of soft tyres, have them brand new, nice and shiny exactly for this. Those tyres look nice and shiny on Paolo's car, so they could be brand new. But it says they're 4 laps old, so that shows what I know. I am blind, in my defense.
And while we are on the safety car, we can really quickly check some of the penalties, as Bilbas, Sikerbike, Jelinek and Fazbe all share 3 seconds. Next we have Nathan Powers, who unfortunately got a 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Then we have Paulo... Oh no, wait, that was actually contact under the safety car.
Oh, it was contact under the safety car? I'm surprised that wasn't served when he just pit. That's very strange.
I'm also surprised, but I don't know. Next we have Borlini with 6 seconds, and Znamirovsky has the most penalties out of anyone, 9 seconds. We can also check the positions gains. Of course, we already mentioned this a few seconds before. Jonathan Foss improving from last place to P3. Very impressive race so far from the AlphaTauri driver, just staying on those mediums, waiting for another safety car, and he benefited a long way from that. And Jonathan Powers also improving from P16 to P6, also not too bad from the Alpine driver. He will get quite a few points, and maybe if people crash right in front of him, he maybe has a chance for a podium. And the most positions lost is from Freddy Fazbe, starting from first position, already having really bad luck in the beginning of the race and in the middle of the race, getting damage and having to pit 2 or 3 times. Now currently running in P15.
Yeah, so he does currently have the fastest lap, Freddy, so at the moment all is not lost in terms of championship points. He will pick up a point. The Ero obviously has the rule where you do not have to finish in the top 10 to get the fastest lap point, so every driver has something they can compete for.
And you also get a fastest lap.
However, and you get a point for pole.
Yeah.
However, with everyone now on brand new soft tyres and about 8 laps of fuel on the car, that fastest lap's going to get beaten by most of the field.
And
it's
we saw
29.8, and I'm going to see some guys with DRS probably getting the low 28s, I would think.
It might be Tuka. We saw that he has a pretty good safety car endings because he has been leading most of them in Season 7. We saw that he can create a very big gap in 5 corners, so he's probably gonna be the first guy to set the fastest lap, as everyone else will have a little bit of a traffic with dirty air, and the DRS will be enabled in 3 laps, so that is also gonna prove a major factor if anyone wants to do the fastest lap. So
I think
we cannot count it out.
Luke's job now is to hang on to Johnny and Tony, possibly protect himself from Marek and Nathan, his teammate. Nathan might manage to jump Marek, and then could play a little bit of a team defensive game. Luke's been the stronger of them this race, so he might be willing to let Luke take a higher finish position for once, although knowing Nathan, I wouldn't bank on it. He's just as likely to put him in a wall at turn 27 as he is to defend for him.
Yeah, they're probably just gonna crash into each other. As we might see safety car coming in this lap, probably, or actually definitely, if the indication is gonna
Field's
come.
bunched up, I think, enough. It
There
might
we
be
go.
a little bit of a late call, but yeah, no, it's called on time. So we'll see Tuka just backing the pack up here. He's doing a cool 60 miles an hour, which in a car seems pretty good. On a bicycle is terrifying, but in a Formula 1 car seems positively pedestrian.
And we can see everyone weaving. Of course, we said that mediums and hards are very difficult to heat up. Softs are the complete opposite. Softs are very easy to heat up, but easy to wear if you manage to do that.
I think
the safety
some
car.
of these guys are doing maybe a little bit too much warm-up, and their tyres might be kind of screaming at them by the end of Sector 1.
And Tuka goes
Tuka's
very
gone
early.
on the exit of 27.
Yes, he is.
He backed it up enough so the safe car could get in the pit lane, so he's not going to get the auto slowdown from the game. And he is going to lead them into turn 1. We've already got a gap at farming, though, between 5th and 6th. Nathan's been caught out a little bit, and he's dropped off the back of Marek. So Marek is going to have a free run
there's
at
a spin!
Luke. A couple of laps. A big contact at the back.
Pavlokovic and Berlini both spinning, and Parr
bad day
both
for
spinning.
Williams. Bad day for Williams, gets even worse. They're now 14th and 16th, and Freddie's up to 12th and pressuring Mateus Gola in the first of the McLarens. He's ahead of Padraig in the second McLaren, so in a bit of a papaya sandwich here, which actually sounds like it might be quite nice, but probably not with Red Bull. I don't think that would be a good meal choice somehow. As Tuka just 2/10 the lead he has over Tony, but he does still lead. As Jonathan within half a second, Luke only 7/10 back, so still within the DRS range when it does open in a lap and a half. And we've got yellow flags at the back again, and I think that's one of the Williams again. I think that's Paolo, who could have some damage and possibly have to take it a little bit pedestrian through the quick hairpin at the far end of the track. Tony's almost pushing Tuka here, though, through the fast chicane. Tuka's going to have to drive the widest Aston Martin in history here if he wants to hold off the Alfa Romeo. As Tony's going to try and get down the inside for turn 27. I think he's going to make this one stick. He's going to have a better line. He's going to be able to dictate Tuka's turn in. But he's just going to leave him space on the outside. Doesn't quite put him in the wall. But he is going to lead it here, so he's going to possibly try a little bit of a weaving defense down this straight if he can. Would get a warning for doing it once, but he's got enough straight line speed to stay in front. Jonathan's managing to stick to the back of this front two, though, and look to pick up some good points for AlphaTauri. Iron's currently ahead of Wadji in the second AlphaTauri Aston Martin fight, as George Paz managed to overtake Freddie at the back. And they're side by side through going up to turn 4, though. Freddie's going to fight this. He just about leaves space. They're about to go off track, charges out, and he's in a wall. But he keeps the car alive. He's just lost his front wing, but he is going to have to pit, and that's going to put him way to the back of the field with 4 laps to go, with about 5 laps to go, which is unfortunate for Haas as well as Williams. They're both teams not having a good race today. And Tony's really got some pace going because he's managed to pull 7/10 out ahead of Tuka at the front.
Yes, he does, and the gap is beginning to get a bit bigger, but between every one of our drivers it is 8/10. And I think the only battle is gonna be behind, with Jelinek now on the attack on Sekirbikia for the final points paying position, as Jelinek just slows down a little bit, trying to get DRS for this straight. DRS is still not enabled, so he probably maybe forgot about that, but now he is going on the attack.
AlphaTauri, though, Wadji's going to try and come around the outside of Iron into turn 27. Iron's going to hold that defensive line, but Wadji might get a better drive here down the pit straight. Just keeps it out of the wall, and they're going to be side by side over the start-finish line as well. So we'll have to see who's got the most straight line speed. Seems to be Iron for now, but he is deploying some of his ERS. Wadji's got a bit of a battery deficit, so he's going to kind of have to back out of that. As Matej Jelinek does manage to overtake King into turn 1 and 2. So that puts the Mercedes driver up into 9th place. We'll start chasing off after some of these guys ahead, and possibly after his teammate if he can manage to clear them. Nathan's dropped a full second away from Marek as well, so DRS enabled this lap.
Oh, Tony gets a penalty!
Tony with 3 seconds at the front, so Tuka can just sit here now. and win this race anyway. Dependent on steward verdicts, it's possible Tony got a warning for being fast off track, something like that. And that might get removed afterwards as George picks up a 3-second time penalty at the back with no front wing on his Haas. So he's going to have to come in and pit again, and he's already in last place, so that's very unfortunate for him. But this front three out on their own at the moment. A 1.5 gap back to Luke in P4 in the Alpine, who's going to have Marek all over the back of him. Marek's definitely going to have the straight line speed here with DRS this lap to make a move, either into turn 27 or turn 1. And Washi's managed to get past Ian down the back straight. That's an interesting place to overtake.
But now Bilbas has DRS for this straight. And I think Jelinek is trying to emerge into this battle as well. But let's see if Bilbas is gonna try and wait for the start-finish straight. Is he gonna stay behind to get DRS? No! He is going on the inside of Crocs as he breaks a little bit too late into that corner.
Oh,
but
that's
Bilbas
actually a really
is
good
still...
move. He forces Washi to take a wider line, but Washi still leads over the DRS detection point.
And Jelinek is also gonna overtake.
Side front.
Jelinek also
Jelinek
overtaking.
behind both with the DRS, so he's going to make the move on Washi as well. That's going a bit tight in turn 1, just about leave each other space. And they're going to have a side-by-side run down to turn 4. Washi's going to be deploying some of his battery, and just about manages to stay ahead and stay in 8th place. Good racing from these guys at the back, managing to just about give each other space on a track where it's kind of difficult to leave space because it is so tight and twisty. And Ian's going to be under a bit of pressure here, though, from the Aston Martin driver, who's going to have this sort of weird placed DRS zone, which isn't the same as official Jeddah circuit. Or she's going to drive it round the outside, round the hairpin, and they might just get a front in front here, and he does. That's a great move from the Aston Martin driver.
And Tuka has also overtaken Tony for the lead. Looks like Tony is really not having the pace. Yes, he does. Let's see. He backs out of it now. He has DRS.
Behind, thinks better of it, but that's going to be another warning for Tony as he runs wide at the fast second chicane, and it's going to compromise his line through there. He's going to have DRS, but so is Johnny behind. So Tuka might be coming under attack from 2 here, but Johnny's choosing not to use his DRS, wants to sit here and pick it up over the start-finish straight.
Let's see this
Tony
4-way battle behind.
27, touches the wall on exit, and that's going to compromise his exit from this corner as well. As he's going into the pits, he must have damage.
Maybe, but...
pits that releases Tuka and Johnny at the start.
We have this fight behind us, Crocs, and Bilbas make contact, but thankfully no harm done on the straight. Now Jelinek and Bilbas going side by side into turn 1. Let's see who's going to be better from that. Bilbas tries to make a switch back right into that chicane. We have Seeker BK making contact with Crocs, but Jelinek has improved to P6. Looks like
Contact
Mercedes.
turn 4, but Kenny gets the move, but they both run wide off track. And it's going to be a 3-second time penalty for Marek in front as well, as he's trying to chase after Luke. And Nathan's cruised up to the back of these two now. They've lost some time fighting, and Nathan's closed what was a 2-second gap just a couple of laps ago. And he's managed to get onto the back of Luke and Marek. So we could have a 3-way fight here for the final podium position. I think Tuka and Jonathan out at the front are going to be pretty safe with a 2-second gap back to Luke. But they're going to be fighting between themselves to see who can take the win on track. Is Jonathan going to do a last to first challenge? If he plays it smart and plays the tactical game, he could get Tuka going into 27 on the last lap, and then there's just not enough straight before the finish line to come back, as Freddie gets another 3-second time penalty down in P11. So even if he manages to overtake Mateus for P10, I think the penalty is going to put pay to him actually scoring points in this race, outside of the one he got for pole position, which has not been a great race for the Red Bull driver, as Jonathan takes the lead through the final corner on lap 22. So we're going to have 3 laps remaining, but Tuka's going to get DRS here down the pit straight and retake the lead, as Luke's just about managing to stay ahead of Marek and Nathan, I think, but the DRS is going to allow Marek possibly to attack into turn 1. Luke goes a little defensive, and he's going to squeeze Marek a bit onto the apex, possibly get a better drive out of the corner, but gets a bit of a squirm as he gets the power down. But he's just about going to be in front and going to hold that place into turn 4. But this is putting Nathan right on the back of the Mercedes driver, and we could see a bit of a Alpine team play here to try and get themselves up into 3rd and 4th, as the second Mercedes of Matej Jelinek gets a 3-second time penalty and loses his front wing and a wheel, as he's made a rather serious error in turn 1, but we are in sector 1, sorry, but we are a little bit too late for a safety car.
Oh my god, Nathan powers round the outside into the hairpin of Znamirovski, such a brilliant move.
I did that yesterday. It was pretty fun. It's definitely a clenching kind of move, but it's pretty good. So we have now got Alpine in 3rd and 4th place. Wonder if Nathan's going to hold station and just let Luke have the position. Neither of them really have any battery, nor does Marek behind them. As Tuka and Jonathan now coming around this turn 25 and 26 curve. We'll see if Jonathan's going to play the long game or if he's just going to go for the move. He's going to go for the move here into 27. So Tuka likely to get him back here down the pit straight. And if Jonathan's playing this just to set him up, as this is what we should do every lap, and then Tuka might just let him go at the end of the final lap, and not really expect it to be much of a problem. If he doesn't really think about it all too much, Nathan pulls right up to the back of Luke, but chooses not to go for a move, as Luke gets another squirm out of turn 2. So he's under a bit of pressure here, the Alpine driver, looking for his first podium of the season. He has been scoring points pretty regularly, but he's upping some dizzying heights right now, might be getting a bit of vertigo as we come into the final 2 laps.
If he just keeps it clean, he will secure it as his teammate right behind, and I don't know, as Nathan Powers and Pandrovsky both
ahead,
have...
and that's George Parr, who's had a bit of a moment, and he's about to go a lap down here.
Oh, Mills nearly loses it.
Kenny's pit as well. George gets out of the way of the front 2. So that's good driving from the Haas to not hold up this fight for the win between Tuka and Jonathan.
Luke Mills nearly loses it at the hairpin at the exit and nearly crushes his entire race. But this battle for the lead is still happening between Jonathan Foss and Tuka Rakola.
But he's going to get DRS from George here down through the curves of 25 and 26. So that's going to help him pull Nathan along a little bit, defend from his teammate if necessary. Oh, Nathan's looking a little bit aggressive, like he might actually want to go make this move and steal Luke's thunder and take a podium for Alpine.
But he does have that penalty.
He does. That is a good point. I totally missed that. Although there is every chance with it being a collision on the safety car that Nathan gets that removed. Nathan chooses not to use DRS, so I think he is happy for Luke to keep his 3rd place. He just needs to defend from Marek and keep him as away from Luke if he can. And there's contact! Marek goes into the back of Nathan and he's lost some of his front wing. He's missing his right end plate on this final lap, so there'll be no point pitting, but it is going to kind of stifle his challenge. He's going to get so much understeer from that Mercedes car now. He's just not going to be able to do all that much, as Tuka's managed to pull 6/10 away from Johnny, and they've both got a ton of battery life. You guys should spend this. And they're coming up to lap Paolo Bellini as well, so Tuka might get bailed out a little bit with some DRS from the Williams driver, who is a lap down, but I think Paolo's going to get way out of the way before the DRS even appears. Yeah, he's very slow around the first chicane, and I think Tuka's going to probably clear him before the DRS detection line, but he might be playing a bit of the long game and trying to sit behind and steal some DRS to stop Jonathan really having a go. He is going to get DRS. So Jonathan's going to have a chance here, but they've both got DRS, so it's going to be very difficult for him to make a move. It might be a bit of an audacious lunge into 27 on this final lap.
And he goes around the outside.
Oh, the side-by-side through the final corner, don't hit a wall! And Jonathan's got to drive! Jonathan's going to take the win!
No, he doesn't, as Tuka has DRS, and this is going to be a straight lining battle into the final.
That's a photo finish. I have no idea who actually won that.
Tuka Rakola is the winner of the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix.
Luke gets P3, so Luke does manage to get on the podium for Alpine.
And Crocs actually manages to get P4.
P4 because of the penalties. Nathan jumps to P5 with his 5 seconds, so that might get removed. Putting back up into P4. Ian in the second AlphaTauri manages to get P6. So mitigates the damage a little bit to Tuka, but not all that much. Marek, with all of his penalties, drops all the way to P7. Quill P8 for Williams. Mateus Gola comes home P9. And Freddie does manage to get a point, finishes P10 with no front wing for Red Bull. Just 0.3 of a second behind Mateus Gola after penalties applied. But yeah, with no front wing. But I need more photos to see who actually won that race.
Jonathan Foss.
No, there is slight timing glitches to a couple of thousandths of a second, which could have given Tuka the win when he was very slightly behind, or Tuka could have just timed that to perfection and managed to jump it over. But I think we need pictures of that, definitely, from both POVs.
But Jonathan Foss is, of course, gonna be the driver of the day.
Oh man,
definitely.
Absolutely. 20th to second, that's such a good drive. He just kept it out of trouble, didn't pit under the first safety car, used the medium tyres and their longevity to his advantage, And then when the second safety car came out, everyone stopped and it really elevated him up there. 9,000ths of a second, the game says the difference was. 9,000ths of a second. It takes longer than that to blink.
It does. But yeah,
God.
this was the first Saudi Arabian Grand Prix in Ero, and it has ended in quite a fashion as Tukarakula has taken the win. And unfortunately for Jonathan Foss, P2, but still from last to second, a very, very impressive drive from the AlphaTauri driver. And Luke Mills takes the final podium position for Alpine. Then we have Crocs, Powers, Bilbas, Namirovsky, Pavlakovic, Gola, and Fazbear taking the final points paying position for Red Bull. Jesus Christ, that finish was amazing. Probably the closest finish in PC1 ever. But yeah, we hope that you enjoyed the race as much as we did. And yeah, do you have any last words before we run things off?
I think I need to lie down.
Me too. So yeah, this was the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix from Ero PC1. We hope that you have enjoyed today's commentary and the race, and yeah, this was a very, very, very good race. And before we end things off, I would just like to say to leave a like if you have enjoyed. You can also subscribe to the channel, it really helps us out. We would also like to say thank you to our partners, Bouldermania, Gridfinder, Race Inside, JR Design, and Discord. Their links are gonna be in the description, so you can check them out if you really want to. We really value the partnership. You can also check our Patreon, you can donate and follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. You can also go to our official website, where you can check some stuff and standings from previous seasons. There are some pretty interesting stuff there. And there is also a link to our Discord, where you can apply to race with us if you enjoyed what you saw today.
No, PC signups are closed because there's too fucking many of them.
Oh yeah.
They will be open for next season, for season 8, which will be run on the brand new F1 22 when that comes out, where we will be using immersive drive to grid. So expect to see some guys pointing at others on the grid, and immersive pit stops, so we could see some a little bit of chaos when people are twitching about in the pits, missing their timings to pull into their pit garage, and yeah.
and we will also have 4 PC divisions, so even more places for you to join.
At least.
And
we currently have 90 drivers across 3 tiers, so we have enough for 4 already, and obviously we're gonna have more people looking to sign up. Possibly we could have brand new guys coming in for F1 22, so we might even have 5, which would be awesome. Because more tiers means closer racing, and if we can get more finishes like we just saw today with Tuka and Johnny, I might need to lie down every race. I want to go for a nap before the real F1.
Give me just a moment. So yeah, this was the first Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. We really do hope that you have enjoyed today's race and the commentary. My name is Kickerlin or Dino, today commentating alongside me with Zeke or Adam, and we will see you next Sunday at the exact same time for the Singapore Grand Prix, going from one street circuit to another. And yeah, we hope to see you there, and stay safe.